Duke's effort should put him in the realm of above the rookies, because I thought he, to be able to do that on the road in your first game, he should be compared to anybody in the league, not just the rookies. And I thought Eric Flowers clearly grading out at 94% in your first start against a veteran team in taking 75 snaps is exceptional.
With Eric playing so well and Chantrell coming back, is there any chance that Chantrell could move to a different spot in the line?
We'll see. Again, we're going to go with the best five. We believe our best five are starting right now, and now it's up to Chantrell to chip away at a position. If he ends up in the best five, we'll certainly We'll move anybody to get the best five out there. But right now, it's just good to see him. That today's his first practice with the varsity, really.
How does it look? You say you want to play more on the O-line. So many guys doing well. Coach Keto talked about it. How does that look in the game?
How does it look? You mean? Oh, we won't wholesale it. It'll be one guy here in this series, one guy in the next series, that type of thing. That's what you're asking? Yeah. We won't wholesale it. We'll rotate guys in. And again, a lot of it has to do with the weather and how the numbers are going in the game. Our numbers were not big in the first half on offense. Clearly we were 3 and out the first series, and then we scored kind of explosively on 3 others.
So
play counts were low. Time of possession was low. Play counts were low, even though we had scored, I think, 20 or 21.
Coach, Kansas State in their opener threw the ball more than they did last year against you. I think it was like 10 passes. I know they're not going to go like a typical Big 12 team, but how does that, impact your defense?
Well, we better be ready for them. Clearly Harper's a really good player. I think he caught over 40 balls and 5 TDs a year ago. So, and we better be ready for it. Klein can throw it. He can run it. They have a good group of receivers, Lockett and that crew. The tight end has done a great job. A couple of tight ends they use. One was out, I believe, but the other ones, we're expecting all of them back this week. And the fullback, Braden, he gave us all we can handle a year ago. He was physical.
Does that take the secondary out of run support help?
Well, are you saying we should take him out of run support? I mean, we're going to try to tackle Klein.
I mean, it's sort of a 6 and 1/2.
That's it. That's what makes them good. They were in the top 10. At the end of last year, they finished. Going into the bowl game, they were in the top 10. I don't know what they finished, but they're a top 10 team, and they're top 21 right now in the country.
Have you guys
Did
come out?
Arkansas do anything special? Arkansas, or did you watch? I assume you watched.
I have watched Arkansas. Yeah.
I just wondered, was it their success? Was it personnel-wise or scheme-wise? Are we getting in there?
Yeah, that's gray. You're asking me how I interpret the film now.
Remember about how last year came finished with K-State?
It stuck with us all year. What can you say? It stuck with us all year. I think we finished the year converting 14 of 15 goal-to-goal situations, and that was the one. So, give them a lot of credit. They fought to the end. Their guys stepped up and made plays, on the 2-yard line there in succession, and they earned the right to win that game by the way they played. We didn't execute; they did. Bottom line.
Going back to Colin, I don't know how much do you guys know about him going into last year's game? It's a bit of an unknown compared to this year.
Yeah.
He had the year that he had.
We kind of knew about him going into last year. You can see because he was running through people. I think they held a lot back going into last year's game, but clearly, we know who he is now, and now it's just a function of stopping him. And I think to the point earlier, they're trying to establish a passing game to go along with it. So it's going to be a great challenge for us.
Coach Stevens said yesterday on Big 12 call, he's very impressed with Duke Johnson. Will he see more of him this week with you guys?
Duke.
Getting more carries?
Again, all of those guys have roles, and as I said yesterday, we might have seen more of Duke on those 2 series if he didn't score. You would have seen him carry a couple of times, but I wasn't going to recommend taking a knee, to do it. So I just think, it is what it is. Those guys are all going to get touches. I thought Michael James ran the ball really well. OT did a tremendous job in the short yardage and goal line for us. Some other third down plays. So, again, all those guys are going to continue to rotate. We'll make sure that they all get touches, and it's going to change week to week who's doing what.
How have you guys come out health-wise?
Good. I don't foresee anybody from a health standpoint.
Do you know when you might be able to get Porter back?
I don't. Again, that's all medical and the doctor. That's out of our hands.
What skills allowed maybe Malcolm of the freshman wideouts to maybe rise above the four others, at least at this point? I know it's fluid and it changes, but what skills led to that?
For Malcolm, I don't know. I think he's mature. I think he prepares. Consistency, probably. That's the one thing that freshmen, if there's going to be a hiccup, it's going to be in that department. It's going to be in that consistency and just understanding that process and how demanding that is constantly, and then having a discipline to adhere to it. That's the biggest thing. I think Malcolm's been able to do that so far, and I think some of those other guys, they're going to keep coming because they're going to help us.
With Malcolm being generic, they were all in state championship games last year. They Florida high school.
Yeah.
How much does that play a factor?
It's not going to play a factor, at 11 o'clock on Saturday. I mean, it'll be surrounded by purple, and but I think they've played a lot of football. To speak to your point, I mean, they've played a lot of football. Those kids. I think I said it to you earlier. It's not just that Duke carries the ball the way he carries it. That he had a lot of, games in high school. Played a lot of games. He comes in finishing plays, pass protecting, and carrying the football a certain way. So, again, that has got to be a function of high school coaching. That has got to be a function of spring football. That has got to be a function, because I've seen guys that are juniors in college trying to figure out how to hold the ball, and he just holds it perfectly every single time. So to speak to your point, those guys have all played a lot of football. They've all, practiced a lot. They know a lot about the game. They've learned a lot of football.
Kind of on that point, it didn't seem like any of them were fazed by the situation being on the road, first college game. How much of the fact, because they did play in big games on TV in high school, and it's a little bit different than it used to be, that the transition is not as huge as maybe it used to be, and they're ready for this kind of environment?
Maybe. There might be some merit to that. But, again, I think they prepared and they came in condition. So, really, all they were focused on in training camp was football. They weren't focused on catching up in conditioning or catching up in – they came in ready, and that enabled them to compete and get reps.
One other thing on Malcolm, besides having good hands, is he polished as a route runner for a freshman?
He's getting there. He's getting there. And, again, I think you're going to hear from other receivers in that group before season's over. It's a long season, and even today I was watching some of the defensive linemen that haven't played yet, and they practice better. So, again, everybody learns at a different pace. The light comes on for everybody, and we're just trying to move the team forward because it's a long season.
Coach Kehoe brought up conditioning, so did you. How much will this play a role as the season moves along?
I hope it will play a role, and I hope it becomes part of our fabric, part of who we are, and that we don't lose that mentality that we always want to think of condition as part of our foundation. Chantrell's 335 right now. Feliciano's 312. He looked different. He looked better. Malcolm's weight is down 320. So again, there's not a lot of guys that are heavy set right now. I mean, they're big, but there's not a lot of fat guys right now. In terms of being a little bit overweight, or we're doing that. I mean, they're is that politically wrong? Did I just say that? I'm sorry. Other than me, but they're in condition. They look good.
Any more, Coach Coleman?
Just last time, a lot of guys from last year's team made NFL rosters.
Yeah.
Just your thoughts on that.
Just excited. Again, I haven't seen the final list yet, because I think the cuts were coming as we were traveling, right? Wasn't it Friday night? Yes, I haven't seen everything yet, but it's kind of what we were hearing all along in training camp, because we get bits and pieces as the scouts come out here. Look at the next group. They tell us how the guys are doing, and so I'm excited for them, and hopefully we'll get a couple more guys to get picked up, and if not on a roster, on a practice squad, and then go from there and get an opportunity. But it's great to see a lot of guys have an opportunity.
Was there a guy or two that was just on a cusp of making the travel roster last week who didn't? Is there anyone that comes to mind?
For us?
Yeah.
There's really nobody that comes to mind. I mean, I think we brought 65 and played 58. That's a little bit higher than I like to bring, but we ended up bringing 65 to expose a lot of people to that environment, a lot of players to that environment, because it's a long season. You don't know when you're going to need them again. Okay, guys, thanks.
Thank you.